Okay, we will get started for today. It's 3 p.m. and we'll call the meeting, agenda and priorities meeting for June the 3rd to order. And I would like to ask Councillor Bates to do the land acknowledgement.
Thank you. The town of Innisfail acknowledges that we are meeting on Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kainai, Piikani, and Siksika, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and Stoney Nakoda First Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3, within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived on and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on.
All right, thank you. So we are in the month of June now, and I'd just like to acknowledge 3 things. It's Pride Month, obviously, and as well as National Indigenous History Month and Filipino Heritage Month. So a fun month for June. We will move into 2.1. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yes, we do have an in-camera item 8.2, Economic Development, MGA Section 197.2, FOIP 24.1G.
Okay, thank you, Director Jenkins. Could I please have someone make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
I'll make that motion.
Dunham. Okay, thank you. All in favor? All right, carried. So next, 3.1, I'd like to welcome Karen Scarlet to come up and do a presentation to us. So welcome, Karen.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Because what you told me to do before. Yeah. Excellent at following directions. You might be surprised I'm here to talk to you about art, one of my loves. A few months ago, a friend of mine, Lindsay Picard, came to speak about her safety concerns about Main Street. I think we've all known it's kind of been regarded as a bit of a racetrack for decades, and traffic gets going pretty fast. So when I found out that you presented to town, my answer to a lot of things is always art. And so I wanted to speak to you about some possibilities maybe. A couple months ago, I met with Councillor Heistad and CO Becker, and I had a whole bunch of ideas that I wanted to present, and CO Becker said, maybe start with one. So I might come back if you like this idea. So first of all, I wanted to start with the intersection at 49th Avenue and 50th Street. It's the main intersection in town, I think, where the Legion is, where we've got some murals that are pretty dynamic. So I thought that would be a nice spot to start with some art and improving the color that's there and maybe helping traffic slow down. Public art does a number of things for us. So jumping off with the safety piece is maybe it helps people realize there's some important things to slow down and think about. It also adds joy for our community. It also activates people to come together and celebrate, and it also gives us pride in our place. Next slide is a painting I did of wild roses. I'm going to use this image as a proposed possibility for the intersection art that could be used. As an Innisfail farm kid, I love our landscape. I love everything in our landscape. And so at the end of my presentation, I'll also ask you to consider other flowers that would be possibilities. But for today's presentation, I'm using the wild rose. So the next 3 slides show different considerations of where art could be set up in the intersection. The first slide, 3, shows the wild rose is a big graphic right in the middle of the intersection. Also adding color to the actual sidewalk pieces so that that helps with people slowing down. I think we've got about a year time that traffic can run over this piece, and I think right in the center of the road, it will pull and drag the paint quite a bit. So I don't think that this is necessarily the right piece, but it would be really dynamic for a while. The next slide, I've put the roses on the sidewalks, and so this I think is really pretty. Again, this is going to cause problems with people speeding up and slowing down in those specific spots. And even though it'll probably get wrecked pretty quickly, this is my favorite of the pieces that I'm proposing. The third one, I've put the roses into the triangle areas where at the corners, traffic would move past them, but also there wouldn't be a lot of tire movement over top of the flowers, and so those images would stay a little bit truer longer. The north ones are actually in triangles that hardly ever get hit with traffic. The south ones would be driven over a little bit more, and so they would need to be touched up more regularly. So those are my 3 pieces. The next slide shows a number of different flowers. So the wild rose, of course, is our Alberta flower, and it grows abundantly here, which I think is an obvious reason to use it. Some of my other favorites are echinacea. It's one of the flowers I paint and create quite regularly with. We also, you may not know this, but there's 15 different varieties of dandelions in Alberta that are considered native to this land. So it could be a fun piece to do, as well as brown-eyed Susans are a very popular flower in our community. The 2 that I don't have up are actually Saskatoon. Saskatoon is a plant that grows abundantly here, and it only grows abundantly in another spot in the world and where it's not considered a weed. And as you know, Saskatoon is gorgeous when it flowers, and it really smells beautiful when the berries come to ripen. The other flower that I would propose is a pasque flower, which is also known popularly as the prairie crocus. It grows natively in our grasslands. It is also found in lots of gardens here and all over central Alberta. So my ask today is that we could continue conversation about intersection art at this crossroads of 50th and 49th to help with slowing traffic, to be part of the survey process of how we change traffic around in this town. I know that I've lived most of my adult life in Calgary, and the number one thing that they do to slow traffic in Calgary is they start with painting something on the ground. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Karen, for coming. Appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions? Councillor Dunham.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Scarlet, thank you for coming. It's always good to see you here, and it's always good to see you out in the community, and I just know how much you activate and get people out volunteering for different things, and definitely appreciate that. I'm just so excited with what we're doing with the upcoming sessions that we've got around the public artwork framework and the bylaws that we're going to, or bylaw that we're going to be developing. And I think that, you know, at this point in time, it's really good to be hearing about the possibilities of what we can do, but I really am looking forward to sort of seeing the feedback we get the community and putting those, you know, something a little bit more formal in place before we really take those next steps into things. But I definitely think we should continue the conversations and any other things that you have going on, whirling around in your brain, for future projects as well. But I also, I'm sure that you're going to be at those public artwork framework.
All of them.
Yes. Yeah,
I'm excited about them too.
We'll see you there. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. And like I said, I look forward to seeing how this could potentially fit into what we're going to be doing with that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dunham. Councillor Wing.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. Thanks, Karen. This was really interesting, and in my brain, like certainly the public art consultation that's going on right now, but also we're in the process of redoing our municipal development plan, and we've been spending a lot of time, and really specifically in the last month or so, talking about the areas of Innisfail as we grow and as we're intentional around their design, and talking about town center. So kind of this, like certainly traffic slowing, safe walking, all of that stuff is incredibly important no matter how we frame it. But certainly as we start to think about how we identify areas in our town in a different way, some of this kind of public art at the intersections around our town center certainly are interesting to me. So thanks for this. You've given me lots to think about. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Heistad?
Yeah, thanks, Karen. I think Dale and Janice had some really good, or Councillor Wing and Councillor Dunham. I apologize for that. And then I know we have our policing, our study for traffic and that. My question to how's acting CAO Megan Jenkins? Director Jenkins. So, do we know when that study will be completed, and if there's an opportunity to use some of these ideas with that study?
So that study is underway, so Aptos Engineering is in the process of doing that assessment. They couldn't give me a finalization date, but I would think probably later on in the summer is when we would see something coming from that.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so just so you're aware, you're probably already aware, Karen, but there was, when we had a presentation on the safety, we moved forward with a traffic safety assessment. So that RPR closed a little bit ago and it's been awarded. So there's a consultant coming in to do an assessment of various areas throughout the town for crosswalk safety. So, you know, whether it's at this crosswalk or like maybe something like this belongs at a different crosswalk, right, where there are no traffic lights and stuff. But just so you're aware of that's coming up too. So kind of merging those things together with the assessment and public art and all that kind of stuff. So timing is perfect. Councillor Messaros?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Thank you for coming, Karen. I wasn't at the last delegation you had, so I'm happy to be at this one. And I agree with my fellow councillors about, you know, this an exciting idea. I was wondering, it's interesting, the notion that a public art like this can have an impact on traffic safety. And I'm wondering if there's any data, like do you have data to show that? Or could you get data?
I don't have data, but I certainly could get data for it, yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing I was going to say then is just exactly what Mayor Barclay said. So, you know, following up from the question, is there data to show the impact? Then is this intersection where there are traffic lights there, would that be the most beneficial place to put art like this? So, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Councillor Harrison?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay, and thank you, Karen, for coming. I love the idea, and we have many areas in town which our study will show that we've got issues with traffic speed and safety at, you know, not only 49th and 50th, but 50th and 50th going up towards the hospital. I get comments all the time that it's a drag strip. So anything to slow down traffic, there's other ways, but they're a little more, I guess I wouldn't call them, but destructive, such as topazes and speed bumps and that kind of thing. We don't want to go there. This is so beautiful. So I fully support the idea, and I'm certainly open to more conversations around what this is going to look like at the end of the day. But one specific question is, if you can, when you're looking for data, if you can find anything on the longevity of the painting. You know, I look at some of the color schemes here, and, you know, is it 1 year, 5 years? The maintenance on this down the road, we need to think about the operational, I guess, dollars it's going to take to make it look nice all the time. So that would be my question.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
I know when I was speaking with CEO Becker, he said that generally road paint has a lifespan of a year. So especially with accelerating and decelerating over top of paint, it'll pull and push. That's why in my pieces, I thought if we could put them in places where traffic is not going to be necessarily all there all the time. I have a couple of friends that have done roadwork paint. Depends on how busy the space is and is how much attention it needs. So the quieter spots, I have one friend who's painted something 5 years ago and it still looks great.
Still good. Good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming, and definitely keep the dialogue open with administration and working with CEO Becker and even Director Kennedy, because he's the Director of Operations, of course, and he's the person kind of in charge of sidewalks and things. But we look forward to, I think, the public art consultation. I'm glad to see that getting underway. And the traffic assessment, kind of looking forward to that coming back as well. So thank you so much for coming and sharing this with us. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And yeah.
And one little last thing, the Historical Village and I decided to move our crochet public art project one day later. We didn't like the idea that we were competing with Pride, and we wanted to fully support Pride. So our next crochet installation will be the Heritage Quilt Project that's at the Historical Village. It's on June 23rd. And I'll be sending a formal invitation to everybody, and I hope everyone can make it.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
You too.
Don't get wet out there. Okay, so we will move into 4.1, Strategic Priorities Update with Director Jenkins.
Just there for council's review, or if there's any questions on any of those specific priorities.
Does anyone have any questions about our update? If not, I'll just have somebody please make a motion that we accept the strategic priorities as information. Councillor Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I so move.
Perfect. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. And we will now move on to 4.2 with Director Jenkins and Bill 20 update.
Yes, so just looking to provide council with an update to the proposed amendments to Bill 20. I believe everything was approved through the legislature last week, but there were amendments introduced to the act. So they included clarifying sections dealing with the removal of a councillor and the repeal of municipal bylaws. So with respect to council removals, Cabinet cannot unilaterally remove a councillor. Cabinet can force a vote of the electors to remove a council. Reasons for forcing a vote include if Cabinet considers a councillor to be unwilling, unable, or refusing to do the job for which they were elected, or if Cabinet considers such a vote to be in the public interest. The concept of unwilling, unable, or refusing to do the job was not defined. And council may consider illegal or unethical behavior by a councillor when considering a question of public interest. With respect to repealing bylaws, Cabinet can force or repeal a bylaw under the following criteria. Bylaw exceeds the scope for the purpose of a municipality as defined in the MGA, or exceeds the authority granted under the MGA. The bylaw contravenes the Constitution. The bylaw conflicts with any other provincial statute, or is contrary to public policy. So also in your package is a letter from Minister McIver, as well as a response from AB Muni's.
Okay, thank you, Director Jenkins. Could I please have someone make the recommended motion? Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I would move that council accept the report as information.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any comments or questions? No. Okay, all in favor? All right, carried. And we will move on to 4.3 with Director Vickers and the annual report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Barclay. So we do have our second annual report ready for council's review this afternoon. This report serves as an opportunity that administration and council will use to communicate with our citizens, stakeholders, and others regarding the town's performance over last year. It will highlight our accomplishments and statistics for the year through project and program updates and other achievements. It will guide residents, businesses, community members, and the public through our municipal tax dollars and how they were invested to deliver on those projects, programs, and services that will create a safe, sustainable, and prosperous town. So we did think that we had these packages ordered. We didn't think they were going to be here in time for today, but they are here. So everyone has one. There is some out front that will be available for people to pick up, and we'll take them throughout the next couple of months to share them with the community. The admin staff will work hard at getting this shared out through our forms of social media on Facebook and other things, as well as some links in the paper directing them back to the website to have a look at it, so.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Director Vickers. Looks fantastic. And thanks to everybody for all their work, looking
Yeah,
at Ken
everyone,
over there.
right?
Yeah.
Right, everyone.
We did a lot of it, so it looks great, so thank you so much. Anybody have any questions or comments about the annual report? Councillor Heistad?
Yeah, I'm curious, Director Vickers, what's the uptake with the previous year with the report itself? Like, are people clicking into the links? Do we know, Ken? Do you know, is there any data on that? No? Okay. No.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mayor Barclay through to Councillor Heistad. So we don't have that information handy with us. Could we get that information and provide it at a next council meeting? So we could do that as well.
Yeah, no, and the reason why I'm asking it, sometimes, you know, it may be advantageous to send it to certain households as well, just so that there's more marketing out there. That's how I'm looking at it, but no, I think this looks great. Thank you.
Director Vickers, how many hard copies do we have at the,
100?
Okay.
250?
okay,
Mayor Barclay, I believe we got 250, with
Okay.
handing out a handful
Yep.
to some staff members. The rest will be available for
Sure.
pickup.
maybe we could give one or two to the Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We could, yep, we could have them
Yeah.
grab a couple on
Yeah,
their way
for
out.
sure. Awesome. Okay, so if somebody could please make the recommended motion. Councillor Messaros?
I'd like to move that we accept this as information.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. Thank you. And we will move into correspondence and information. Is that the right time on Councillor Bates, so that the Mountain View water, it's 4 to 7? Did
Yes,
that-
I believe they
yes.
added an hour,
Yes,
and
okay.
somewhere I saw something, I put a note to myself in here that we do need to RSVP.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
RSVP.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, we need to consent an invite out to, you have sent an invite, right? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, okay. All right, so when we're ready, just have somebody please make a motion that we accept the correspondence as information. Councillor Bates,
Sure, I'll make that motion, that
Okay,
we
thank you.
accept it for information.
thanks. All in favor? Okay, carried. Thank you. And then we'll start roundtable with Councillor Wing today.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Last week, I attended the Innisfail Library monthly board meeting, as well as the Diamond 7 grand opening on Saturday evening, and that was wonderful, and that's a facility we should all be really proud of. This week, we celebrate seniors, so I was able to attend the brunch at the golf course this morning and do go on a tour. And then we'll be attending the Mayor's Garden Party tomorrow, and then from Thursday to Sunday, I'll be attending FCM in Calgary. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Bates.
Yep, so on Saturday, I did deliver a small amount of hazardous waste down to the, and then went on to the Diamond 7 opening, at very impressive facility, and it's just interesting to see another fraternity in the spirit that they have. Also, walking across their turf, we realize how little rain that we've actually had as moisture in the last month. This week, I'll be attending the Mayor's Garden Party tomorrow, and I think an abbreviated portion of FCM. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Harrison?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I attended the seniors week opening this morning for a very short time. I got there late. I had some other commitments, medical commitments that I needed to tend to. We'll be attending the garden party tomorrow, and yeah, I think that's about it. The rest of the week's pretty quiet.
Great, thank you. Councillor Heistad?
Thanks. Diamond 7 facility looks great. I have a village committee meeting on Wednesday at 7, FCM, and then the mayor's garden party. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Dunham?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Last week, I attended the Knee Hill 4-H dinner and show and sale with Mayor Barclay and Heather Taylor from the Innisfail Food Bank. It was a really lovely evening, and they raised a lot of money, I believe over $18,000 for the food bank, which was fantastic. I also attended with Councillor Heistad and a number of students and some others from the Iowa Committee to do the refresh on the heart mural on the fence at the schools. I was also at the seniors brunch today, and I got to see the golf course from the golf course view for my first time, and I actually drove a golf cart for the first time, and I did not injure my fellow council member, Councillor Wing, so it was all good. And tomorrow I will be attending the Mayor's Garden Party.
All right, thank you. And Councillor Messaros.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I'm going to the Mayor's Garden Party tomorrow, and it's an important event for us and our family. I took my dad last year and the year before, and last year he had so much fun. I think everybody knows he's suffering from dementia and doesn't get out very much. And last year he said, Sind, I want to come here again next year if I'm still around. And so, in fact, he is, and in fact, we're bringing him. So going to that, and then FCM on the weekend. So thanks.
Perfect, thank you. Can remind him to pay his taxes because it's June, so he always likes that when I bring that up. So, so as Councillor Dunham said, attended the 4-H supper and sale last week. Diamond 7, which was a wonderful opening, and great to see the amount of money that was raised for that facility on top of what the town contributed. Had a 100th birthday party I attended on Sunday, which was pretty fantastic, for Donald Moore, lives at Autumn Grove. And this morning at the seniors brunch, thank you to Manager Mackenzie and Kristen and Sandy for Katrina as well for all the work they did, and the volunteer Diane that came and helped. I think there were 70 registrants for this morning, so it was really fantastic, and people had a wonderful time, and they just absolutely love going out on that golf course and seeing it, because most of them are non-golfers. So look forward to tomorrow. Hopefully the weather will hang in there for us. So we'll move on to upcoming events. And I'll just have somebody make a motion to accept the upcoming events as information. Councillor Dunham.
Mayor Barclay, I'll move those.
Okay, thank you. Everybody okay with all these? All in favor? Okay, carried. And then we will have a motion to go in camera.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor
It's been a
Messaros.
while.
All in favor? Okay, carried.